Welcome to Project One. Building a strong community takes each one of us, and Project One is the place to start. 1 hour, one person, one life changed. On today's show, we'll feature an organization that is changing lives and transforming our community. So get ready to be inspired. Here's the host of Project One, Jan Johnson.
Hi, this is Jan with Project One, and we're so glad that you have joined us again today for our Project One program. And as a reminder, Project One is an initiative of Salem Media Group of San Antonio in partnership with the San Antonio Christian Leadership Forum, SACLF, and Documation, who are our wonderful sponsors. And we just want to thank them for giving us the ability to bring this program to you every week. And Project One is a program where we want to connect you with organizations in our San Antonio area that are making a difference in the lives of individuals, whether or not they're young, they're children, they're babies, they're seniors, anywhere from birth to grave is what we've been told before, are organizations that are helping individuals that are in different needs and different stages in their life. And Project One is an initiative to get individuals to be connected with organizations either by volunteering or mentoring or getting involved financially, but just supporting these organizations. And we're so thrilled to have today with us Boystown. And I have in studio with me Janie Cook, who is the executive director, and Gladys Blackwell, who is the program director for foster care and adoption. So we're so glad that you're in studio, and thank you for being with us, and thank you for everything that Boystown is doing in San Antonio.
Well, thank you for having us.
I wanted to just read something really, really quick that I thought was kind of cute, and I love fun little stories. But it said, this was overheard at a World Volunteer Conference. Did you even know that there were such a things as World Volunteer Conferences?
No.
I know. Neither did I. And I'm thinking, okay, we might want to go check this out. But it said, in response to the observation that volunteers are often seen as amateurs, remember this. Noah's Ark was built by amateurs, and the Titanic was built by professionals. So isn't that interesting?
That is interesting.
So we might need to find out about this volunteer world organization and go get some of these fun things. But when you really think of that, and all joking aside, our volunteers are very important, and our mentors and the families that get involved with our organizations are very important because of what they bring. So I'm sure that that's something that we will be talking a little bit in the future here today about your needs and who you are needing to get involved with Boystown. But let me just let our listeners know a little bit about Boystown. Boystown, Texas, has been providing life-changing care to the children and families of the region since 1989, so 27 years. The site's program and services are part of the National Boystown Network, and its research-proven integrated continuum of care, which ensures that troubled children and families across the country receive the right care at the right time in the right way. That's amazing. So, Janie, tell us a little bit more about how you got involved with Boystown, and tell us a little bit more about the mission and the history of Boystown.
Well, the mission and history of Boystown goes way back. We're super excited because we're actually celebrating our centennial anniversary this year.
Oh, congratulations.
Yes, thank you. Boystown was begun by an Irish Catholic priest named Father Flanagan in 1917. He was working with homeless men in Omaha, Nebraska, and realized the effects that homelessness had on men at that time, and realized he needed to start working with them earlier in life. So he borrowed $90 from a Jewish businessman there in Omaha, Nebraska to rent a home, and took in the very first 5 boys to Father Flanagan's boys' home. Fast forward 100 years later, one of the things about Father Flanagan, and he's very visionary, he knew long ago that this was not about him. And there's a quote of him saying that this work will continue, you see, because it's God's work, not mine. So he knew from the beginning that it was not about him. And sure enough, it wasn't, because we're blessed now to be part of this mission 100 years later. 100 years later, serving kids across the country, about 32 to 35,000 kids a year from those first 5 boys.
Wow.
So we're blessed to be part of this mission that we call Boystown. We've been in Texas, like you said, since 1989, and working with at-risk children and their families.
Now, is this the only location in Texas, or are there other locations?
It is.
as well?
We're located here in San Antonio, and we have a hotline that's available in all of Texas as well, which answers calls 24/7.
And
a
that
day.
information, I'll let our listeners know, but that information can be found on our website by going to the website and clicking on the tab Project One, and we'll have all of the contact information for Boystown and the hotline, also all of their website and contact information, so that way you can get everything that you need to know to even maybe pass it along. Because
Absolutely.
we actually have listeners that listen to the show that are not even part of San Antonio. So that's great
sure.
that you'll have a resource for them as well. So tell us a little bit about, I know your location is downtown.
It is.
Conveniently located downtown, which is, you have a great parking lot, I might say. I have parked there before. But tell us a little bit about what you do here locally. So, if you want to talk about that, that would be great.
A little bit of what we do locally is we recruit for foster parents and adoptive parents. So we also have other programs that we work with here, and Janie can speak a little bit more to those programs. But currently what we do is we look for families that are willing to open their doors and their hearts to kids that need homes. And also we have families that want to adopt. So we do like foster to adopt
Oh,
or
terrific.
foster care, yes.
And is it just little boys, or is it boys and little girls? And
Boys and girls.
Oh,
yes,
good.
boys and girls.
because that's probably a misperception that people see when they
It
see
is.
Boystown.
It is.
They think
It
it's
is.
just for little guys.
It's
and
things for little
boys.
girls, yes. And I say it's for boys and for girls also.
Oh, that's
yes.
terrific. So tell us a little bit, Janie, about some of the other services that you provide, and then I really want to
Okay.
get into some discussion with you, Gladys, about the adoption and foster side. So what are some of the other services you
So, the short story is here in San Antonio, we're working to prevent and to respond to child abuse and neglect. So, about 90% of the children that we serve here in the Texas area live in their own homes with their own families or with family members.
Oh, my.
And we're working to keep those families together and keep them out of the child welfare system or the juvenile justice system, holding families together. You said an important thing earlier when you said volunteers are key. And at Boystown, they absolutely are. In fact, they may
In
be
what way?
well. They may be the most important when it comes to foster parents, because one of the tenets of the Boystown model is that the children that are closest to them, their caregivers, their parents, they're the change agents in their lives. We aren't.
Right.
So when we have children that are in our foster homes, our foster parents are technically volunteers. They are the change agents in those child's lives. We're there to support the foster parents. But they're the ones that are there 24/7. They're the ones that are changing their diapers. They're the ones to pick up their skinned knees. They are the ones that are there all the time.
But you provide the support and the education that they need
Correct.
to be
Correct.
that change.
Correct.
giver.
We're available to them 24/7, and we do all the training and licensing and all of those things. But really, the key is the volunteer, the heart of the volunteer to get in there and stick with it. So that's what I mention when I say the volunteers are really key to what we do. That's on the end of responding to child abuse and neglect, and then the preventing child abuse and neglect. I'd mentioned that about 90% of the kids live in their own homes, and we're working to train their parents. We have classroom-based parent education programs, and we also have home-based. So we have one-on-one parent coaching and mentoring in families' homes
And
as
you
well.
send people from Boystown
We
into
do.
the home.
Absolutely. Yes.
Wow.
Yes. It's kind of like Super Nanny, but without the cool accent and the little car. That's what I like to say. We don't have the British accent, but we've got the San Antonio
Yeah,
accent.
there you go.
So-
So how many families are you currently working with in that kind of situation?
Well, last year we served over 1,300 children in the San Antonio area
Oh, my.
directly. Yep. And like I said, about 10% of those were in foster care, and about 90% lived in their own homes.
And what's the success rate that when you've been told about a family that you go in and do either the parenting classes or you actually go in like the Super Nanny and go into the home? What is the success rate of that?
You would be amazed because Boystown does a lot of work. And I was just telling my leadership team this morning, this is what our true report card is. Our true report card is how are the children and families doing long after Boystown is out of their life, right? Not while they're with us, but did it make an impact on their lives? And we do long-term follow-up studies with our families in our in-home program, our foster care program. And you would be amazed at the things that we're looking at. Are they still together? Are they attending school? Are they have graduated? All of these different things. Do they have a doctor? It's all in the 90s, 95s, and above.
Wow, congratulations.
It's impressive. It really is.
Well, but there's a lot of probably sweat and tears that go into of working with these families, and with that amount of families, I'm sure that your need for help, which Gladys, we're getting ready to come up on the break, but I know that you have a story about one of the families and one of the children that you've worked with. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that, and then we're going to talk more after the break about it.
Oh, wow. I have stories. One of the stories I'm thinking of is, because first of all, to be a foster parent, you don't have to be married. We have family, you can married, single, no children, divorced. And we had a couple with no children. And so when they came in, the goal was maybe 2 children. So she came in, there was one little boy, and I remember he had problems with his speech, and he had other occupational therapy he needed. And so after placing that child and watching the work, she began to fall in love, and soon after they did adopt him.
They did?
They did. They adopted him.
Gosh.
And it didn't stop there. It didn't stop there. They said, well, we just want to foster. And we said, okay. So
hold that thought, because we are about ready to go to break. And I know that this is an incredible story, so we want to prepare our listeners. We are getting ready to go to break, and you're going to be hearing a little bit more from Gladys, who is over the foster care program and also the adoption with Boystown, and also talking with Janie. But we're getting ready to go out on break, and I want you to just take this time as we're on break just to kind of prepare your hearts to hear what it is that they're doing and see what it is that you can do to get involved with Boystown, this incredible organization. And again, this is Project One, and you can go to our website and click on the tab Project One to find out all of the information while we're on break about Boystown. You can check that out at our website. And again, Project One is just connecting our listeners with one person, 1 hour, and one life changed. And who knows, you might be one of those individuals that Gladys was talking about that will fall in love with a kid and make a difference in their life. So we'll be right back.
Project One invites you to get with your family, your co-workers, your church friends, and consider being part of one of Project One's organizations by giving of your time. It doesn't take a lot, but it definitely gives a lot. So consider getting a group together and be a part of making a difference in our community. Volunteer and mentoring opportunities are available in various areas like marriage, kids, workplace. Can't you find 1 hour to impact one person and impact a community? Please consider being a part of Project One. Go to this station's website /Project One, that's PROJECTONE, for more information. And thank you.
Well, we want to welcome you back to Project One, an initiative of Salem Media Group, along with the San Antonio Leadership Christian Forum, and also Documation, where we bring to you every week Project One and introduce you to amazing organizations like we have in studio today, Boystown, that are making a difference in the lives of children and adults in San Antonio. And I know that it has made a difference in your lives, Janie, and also Gladys, as you've been talking. So right before we went to break, Gladys was telling a story about a family that was fostering and ended up adopting this child. So the story, when we were on break, I got to hear the rest of it, and I want you to share it because it is phenomenal what this couple has done. So finish the story for us, if you would.
After the couple adopted this one little boy who was 2 years old, they foster a sibling, brother and sister, that was about like 9, 10 years old. And because of the love that they have for children, they ended up adopting those two. But the story didn't end there. This mother is amazing. I mean, I watched her. And one of the things that I do want to say is that I know it was because the love of Christ, how their beliefs. And so we had a set of twins, boy-girl twin. And so they adopted those twins. So you can imagine what the courtroom looked like, even the judge and the tears and the crying, and to just look at this beautiful family. Yeah. And she's fostered other children. And what I really like about her, even she worked with the bio mother of the kids that she fostered.
Incredible.
And the kids come back to go to Vacation Bible School, the Christian camps that they have. And so she would take them in over the summer. And they would just kind of hang out with her and go to these Bible camps and things like that.
Vacation Bible School and things. That's incredible. And I'm sure that when you find a model person like that and a couple that is willing to foster, but they have so much love in their heart to go ahead and adopt, is that rare to find people that are like that go from foster to adoption?
I don't think it's rare, because what happens is that when a child comes into a foster home, when you look into their eyes, and what I've noticed, it's the sadness and how lonely, and it's like a lack of touch, a lack of love. And after being in that home, you can see that child. It just like blossom. The eyes are bright, and so you get attached in your heart. And you end up wanting to adopt.
Wow. I don't know if I could open up my heart to be able to let them go. I would want to keep them. Because when you do open up your heart for this little child, or, some of them are probably, because you take up to age 18, when they get older, if they've been in the foster care system, sometimes they just need to know that someone cares about them.
And kept them safe.
Yes.
And they were safe.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes. Now, some of the services that you provide, and I want our listeners to know about this, but it says Boystown's Foster Family Services knows children do best environments that are family-focused and community-based. We have foster families throughout the San Antonio area serving birth to 18. So you have newborn babies.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Oh, my goodness.
Yes.
We literally have some infants that come to us from the hospital. So maybe their mother used drugs during her pregnancy, and they might be drug exposed. And so it may not be safe for them to go home with their mom, and they might come to one of our foster homes until their mom can get sober and get her life together before they could be reunified.
And, of course, the ultimate goal is to educate the parents or the mother to become a parent that can accept their child back in.
Absolutely.
And to reunite them. But if not, then you've got the resource of the adoption.
Exactly.
It said our foster families come from all stages of lives, married, single, with their own children, never having parented, empty nesters. We recruit, train, support families in the community to provide safe and stability for children, and offer 24/7 crisis response, professional training and support, and competitive reimbursement. We are actively recruiting for foster families to work within a range of different kids in their homes. So let's talk about the recruitment, because one of the things with Project One is we want to connect individuals with amazing organizations like yourself. And our listening audience is so incredible to jump on the bandwagon and get involved in our community. And what you're doing in our community is you are helping mold and nurture today's generation. It's not the next generation, it's today's generation. Absolutely. And you don't know what little, there could be future presidents that are going through some of these homes, and they just need someone to be able to love on them and give them some guidance. So tell us about how you recruit for your volunteers for fostering. Why don't you talk about that, Gladys?
Okay, how we recruit through other foster parents. We recruit through the way we're doing now, through radio stations. When we go out, we have orientations where we have like one-on-one orientations, or we can have a group orientations, and just try to, talk with the family about foster care, what that look like, what their needs are, what the children needs are, age range, because it depends on the family. You just may want an infant, or you may be like me, you just want to foster older children.
Yeah.
So,
which you've been a foster to adoptive parent yourself, right?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And so I have a passion for what I do. And I must say, most of the families that come in, that volunteer, they have a passion for what they do.
Yeah,
they care about children. They love children.
And I think that's probably one of the biggest prerequisites, is that you have to love kids and have that open heart to be able to bring them into your home. So say we've got an individual who reaches out, which again, if you go to our website and go to the tab Project One, you'll have all of the information on how to get in touch with Janie or with Gladys to get involved. But if you've got an individual that wants to get involved, what's the next step? How long is it before they would get a child or a young adult that's placed in their home?
Well, there are requirements. So when they first come in, like I said, we'll have an orientation, group orientation, or we'll just come to the home and have a one-on-one. And doing that orientation, and you're not committed to anything at that time. So during that orientation, we would go over the requirements to be a foster parent. So like it required that you are at least 21 years of age, driver's license, criminal background check.
So you do background checks?
We do background checks, yes. We do background checks, FBI fingerprints. So we would go through that, and then we would also talk about your motivation. What's your motivation?
Yeah, why?
Yeah, why do you want to be a foster parent or adoptive parent? So we kind of talk about the motivation, and we explain the process and how long it would take. So going through training and the process, it could take anywhere up to we say 60, 90 days.
Wow.
And it kind of depends on the individual, but...
So once they're done with the training, then basically they have to be prepared for that phone call that they may be getting a child that night.
Well, when they complete the training, they go through a home study process.
Okay.
And once you go through the home study process, and it's approved, and we go through all of that, and then... there's a possibility I have a child sitting right here waiting on you sometimes. It just depends.
Literally.
I mean, yeah.
Because you don't have enough foster homes to place that child in.
That's right. There are literally children that sleep in CPS offices because there's not enough foster parents in San Antonio.
See, and we've heard that, and we've heard about it, and that is just tragic. It's phenomenal that they've at least got a place to stay and they're not put out to the streets, but oh my word, to have kids that don't have a place to go.
They don't, literally.
And we want to keep Bexar County children in Bexar County, and we want to keep San Antonio children in San Antonio.
Right.
So you don't want them to have to go to Houston, Dallas, Austin, or other places. You want to keep your children.
And that happens?
Yes.
Wow.
And you want to keep your children. So that's another reason why we need foster parents here in San Antonio. You want to keep your children here in your city.
Absolutely.
And we want to keep brothers and sisters together. That's the other big challenge, because sometimes we have large families here in San Antonio, and if you can imagine being a child and you're already scared, you've been removed from your mom and dad, and then you're with your brother and sister, and now you're removed from them as well. So you're all by yourself in this big world. And so we want to try to keep those sibling groups together. In fact, we have 5 homes on the northwest side of San Antonio. So we have sometimes families say, I really would like to foster, but I don't have room in my own home. And so we have 5 foster homes that foster parents get to live on our campus rent-free to take care of sibling groups.
Really?
Absolutely.
That's incredible. And there's information about that on your website.
There is.
Now, are you going to be having any events that are coming up that our listening audience could get involved in the area?
We do. We have a monthly orientation that Gladys mentioned, and those dates are on our website.
Okay, good.
So that's an opportunity if people want to learn more. And maybe there's some folks out there that say, well, I don't know if I can commit to being a full-time foster parent, but maybe I can commit to being a babysitter or a part-time foster parent, which we call like a respite caregiver, because foster parents need a break too. They need babysitters.
Sure.
And sometimes they have crises in their own lives that they might need someone to help pitch in as well. So maybe that's what someone is thinking.
Could volunteer to be, like you said, the respite care or
Yes, a
babysitter, right? And there's
that's
training. We
incredible.
support them through that process. There's training and background checks for them as well. So they can
training. It's a one-day.
It's a one-day training.
All-day
So
training,
that's
yeah.
not as maybe as long of a commitment as it is for being a foster parent.
What a great opportunity if you've got a young adult in your home that needs to go through babysitting training. I know
That's
when
right.
my daughters were at the age where they were doing it, they went through a training, and it was so valuable to learn what you need to do and to be able to have you guys have individuals that can go through that. That's incredible.
And we, the children in our care have had a lot of broken relationships in their lives. So we like for the foster parents to have some consistent caregivers, some
Absolutely.
consistent babysitters. So it's not a stranger coming into their lives all the time.
Yeah.
So.
Well, again, I am talking with Janie, and she is the executive director for Boystown, and Gladys, who oversees all of the foster care program and adoption. And they're with Boystown, which is an incredible organization that is nationwide, but is located here in San Antonio for Texas. And we just want to thank you for being in studio with us. Thank you for making a difference in the lives of all these precious little hearts that have been broken, and that you are mending them to become what God has created them to be. So we encourage you to find out more information about them. Go to our website, click on the tab, Project One, and get all the information. And again, stay tuned for when we're going to have our mixer, and you can actually meet with Janie and Gladys and see the passion that they have for these kids. So we'll see you next week, and thanks for joining us for Project One.